here. Here's Carol with her wood burning outfit, and she lets Frank try his hand at it too. My, what a tummy. Here's Carol with her first pair of roller skates. And Frank's still beating the tar out of those blocks. Oh, it's about time for a fall. Yep, there it goes. Well, Frank seems to be enjoying his train. I really don't know whether it's for him or for Daddy. These birthdays sure do roll around fast. This is Carol's 7th birthday. Some of the children there that I recognize is Tommy and Freddie and Dick Farron, Frank, Judy, Sharon Walker, and Richard Cordell. is Labor Day, September the 1st, 1950. And we're up near an old abandoned schoolhouse, a little bit northeast of Independence, where we went with Jack and Betty Anderson and Stevie, and had a picnic and just a good old outing that day. There goes Mary and Betty. Looks like Jack's got the fire under control and the hot dogs and the beans are cooking. That looks good enough almost to eat. Well, it's time for Carol to go to school again. Now it's the second grade. She's certainly getting to be a big, big girl. So her mother's taken her off to school in our 1950 Ford. Frank helped me build this doghouse for Mitty, and now he's given it a coat of paint. Really doing a super job. There's Jimmy Dyer and all the neighborhood kids at Frank's birthday. This was Frank's 4th birthday. I see the Ammerman girl there. I saw Norman there. There's Jimmy. There's one of the Reynolds girls. And of course Grandma and Grandpa Mac. My records indicate that this is Christmas of 1950 and that Carol was sick. I like those long johns that Frank's wearing. There she is. She doesn't look too perk. Mitty has to get right in with all of us. There's old Fast Gun. Gold guns at that. They certainly had some clever toys during those times. Here's a little train going through the tunnels and the airplane flying overhead. Frank's talking to Santa Claus, probably, trying to replace his order. This is really a very clever toy that Santa brought Frank. I've never seen one since, but the little cars go up and then they circle and roll around and go back up again. And Carol with her little confectionery, and that's all metal. No cardboard, no paper, that's all metal. It's birthday time again for Carol. This is the 22nd of February, 1951. We have Patricia, Sharon Walker, Judy Fewer that is, and look, Carol gets her first watch. There's Freddie Ammerman. This is Carol's third grade class. It was taken June 8, 51. Mrs. Cannon and Sharon Walker. Mrs. Cannon was her teacher. Here we are visiting Mr. and Mrs. Seaman, Everett's mother and father, in West Union, Ohio. This was on June 13, 1951. Here's Everett's mother coming out on the porch. They lived on a farm just outside of town. Beautiful place, and we certainly enjoyed our stay there. Here's Ruth and Everett, Sandy, Mrs. Seaman and Mr. Seaman. Wonderful people. And so are these. Here's Mr. Seaman taking Frank and Sandy and Sherry out to feed the pigs. This is right down Frank's alley. Look at him getting there with them. Well, it's time for goodbyes, and here we are bidding everyone goodbye and leaving the farm. We follow Everett to a place in the Ohio Valley, some ruins at an old park, and from there we go on to Mount Vernon, Ohio, to visit with Ruth's folks. This was another enjoyable stay. And here we are at the Kitty Park in Cleveland, Ohio. There goes Frank and Carol. Here's Carol and Frank in the airplanes. Here comes Frank. That pony. Looks like he's having a good time. There goes Sandy. Here comes Sharon. No, Carol. I know they're having a good time now. They're probably watching Sherry. She's the last one to ride. Girls think they're back in Breckenridge Park in San Antonio. Here we are on the shores of Lake Erie. Here's Sherry and Sandy. This was really a beautiful place on the beach there, Everett and Mary. There's Frank. Looks like the girls have left him. Here's Mary and I frisking it up in the water. And of course we had to have a picnic, so here's beans and hot dogs again. We didn't have much money, but we sure had a good time. From Lake Erie, it's on to Niagara Falls. Here's Carol and Frank and Daddy getting ready to cross the falls in the basket. Now the kids all want to get a closer glimpse of the falls. Here's Mary and Carol and Sandy getting a closer view of the pretty grounds there. On our return trip home, we stopped off at Salem, Illinois, to visit the Lincoln Memorial Park. Here we are in Springfield. And from there we went on to Mark Twain's hometown and visited some of the historical places there. Here's Frank over at Feuer's with the kids playing a little croquet. Here's Frank and Carol out in their own backyard, swinging on their swings. Frank with his corncob pipe. And here's Carol trying to show us how to skin the cat and put the skin back on. Well, brother will do the same thing, but I don't think he's going to put the skin back on. Well, Frank's ready for school. September the 4th, 1951. Here's Mary taking him to the kindergarten for the first time. Looks like Frank's having second doubts about it. I don't know what he told me, but he went ahead anyway. Hogue, he went to school the same day Frank did, with his mother Dorothy And here it is, September the 16th, 1951. We're out at Lake Lotawana, where Jean and Zola Browning had a summer cottage. Looks like Dorothy and Zola, they're both sisters, are busy dipping the boat out. And here's Janice Hoig and Carol playing with their dolls. Here's Eugene Browning. Here's Dorothy and myself. And here's Mary and Zola cutting up. Well, Frank didn't saw, but he's sure carrying the wood. It was cool that evening, and we thought we needed a fire in the fireplace. This is Frank's 5th birthday. Party's in the backyard of home. This is 10/14/51. Here's our good neighbor Viola Fosslin, and Shirley doesn't want to leave her mother. There's Kenny Ray and Frank. Looks like Janice, Judy Fewer, Carol, Patricia, and Susie. Mary is uncovering one of the games or toys that she had set up for the birthday party. Looks like each little boy pulled out a car. Here's Viola. Always smiling, always a cut-up. Shame we couldn't have had video in these days and heard all the sounds that they're making, all the laughter, but this is better than nothing. Here's Bill and Molly stopped by for the birthday. Ken and Dorothy. Frank got a new tricycle for this birthday. Sure is a dandy. Another picnic on the 21st of October 1951 with Ken and Dorothy, and my notes say it was in Excelsior Springs, Missouri.